Hey guys, and welcome back to my reef tank. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about Gorgonians. They're one of my favorite corals, and I have 7 different kinds between my 2 tanks. The majority of them are in my 10-gallon rock flower tank, which you see here. I found that the rock flower anemones and Gorgonians get along, so it's nice to keep them in this tank together, knowing that I don't have to worry about any type of warfare going on between them in my little tank. I have 2 pieces of knobby sea rod in this tank. It's a very sturdy coral that likes a lot of flow. In my experience, it's a very easy, very hardy Gorgonian, but it is also a very slow grower. You can see I have a bigger piece this side over here and another tall skinny piece right here. I have a couple pieces of purple sea whip that started out as 1 piece. You can see the 3 separate pieces, the main one here, a second one here, the third one over here. Unfortunately, it went downhill a little over a year ago when I went on a week-long vacation. When I came back, it had lost a little bit of flesh. It was 6 months before I fragged off the damaged pieces, which were unfortunately covered in green hair algae. I had never fragged anything before, and I was pretty nervous, so that's why I have multiple pieces now. It was doing okay for a while, but a few weeks ago the frag started losing tissue from the bottom up. You can see that this piece has since fallen over. It broke itself off. I'll have to remount that, as well as this piece is losing a little bit of flesh. I'll try to zoom in on that for you. This yellow sea whip is a very pretty but also very floppy coral. It also sheds a lot, more than any of the other Gorgonians that I have. So too high of a flow and it will get blown away, but on the other hand, if the flow is too low, it also has a hard time shedding and algae will start to grow on it. As you can see here, it's not really getting a lot of flow. It's sort of bent over onto the rocks behind it, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of adjusting on this coral, which I'll probably do later this afternoon. The Group's Gorgonian is easily one of my favorites. When I first got it a few years ago, it was a little 3-inch tall Christmas tree looking piece. In this tank, it has sprouted off twice on the rocks. This is actually a sprout off of the rock, and my original frag is down here, growing behind the yellow. And I do have a tiny piece growing on the rock. You can see a little polyp down here in the lower right corner. The only weird thing about this Gorgonian is that green hair algae seems to grow at the base of all of my pieces. As you can see, the tuft of green hair algae there and there on 2 of my bigger pieces. I'm wondering if anyone else has this problem too. Definitely let me know your experiences with the Group's Gorgonian and any hair algae. It is a very hardy coral. It is my fastest growing coral. As you can see, it's the biggest Gorgonian I do have in this tank. I have 3 varieties of Gorgonian in my lagoon tank, one of them being the previously mentioned Group's Gorgonian. This long piece branched off from my original piece about a year and a half ago when I moved tanks from my apartment to my house. I didn't actually realize it had branched off until a few weeks after moving, when I noticed 2 tiny pink polyps on one of the rocks. You can sort of see that despite this being in a different tank, it does still have the green hair algae behind the mushrooms, like the Gorgonians in my other tank. Again, wondering if everyone else has this problem, or maybe it's just me. One of the Gorgonians in my lagoon tank is an unidentified variety. It's right in the middle of the screen behind the plating Montipora. This is the one I got a few weeks ago from a friend. It's still on the mend. It is getting better every day, so hopefully I'll be able to determine what kind it is soon. I am pretty sure it is one that I don't already have. It does seem similar to the knobby sea rod, except that, as you can see, the polyps are a lot longer. I really like it, and I hope it continues to grow. The biggest Gorgonian I have in my tank is a silver Gorgonian, which I purchased from a fellow Nano Reef member. This guy was not in the best shape after shipping because I think it accidentally got exposed to some air, but it grew back missing pieces of flesh within a few weeks. It's another really hardy and really easy coral. My new favorite and only non-photosynthetic Gorgonian I have is the blueberry Gorgonian. Because it's non-photosynthetic, it does need to be fed regularly. I've had this one in my tank for about 7 weeks now and it's doing great. I'm pretty much in love with its blue color and I love the variety and additional pop of color it brings to my tank. I think that Gorgonians are a great coral to add to any reef tank. There are so many varieties and different colors with varying degrees of difficulty, so it's easy to find one suitable for just about any tank. I feed mine a few times a week with small foods like reefroids or coralific delight, and they're all doing really great. I'm definitely no expert, but if you have any questions about Gorgonians, the specific ones that I have in my tank, or any of the other corals you see, please definitely leave a comment down below. I appreciate you guys watching and subscribing. I'll see you next week.